Hello and welcome to Heights High School here in Wichita, Kansas, temporary home of the Crusaders, where head coach Weston Sharks is looking to continue Kapaun's playoff success after defeating Salina South 74-0 in the big shutout win for Kapaun last week. My name is Gabe Bryanbach here, joined by my co-commentator Sophia Jamino. Sophia, say hi.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here.
Their next opponent here tonight is Goddard High. Led by Coach Tommy Beeson, the Lions went 6-2 during the regular season and won their first playoff game last week against Eisenhower High. Last week, they eked out the win 28-6. Sophia, what do you think about the matchup this week?
Gabe, I think it's going to be a really good matchup tonight. It's a beautiful night, 65 degrees, 10-mile-per-hour wind. We're going to see a lot of Goddard looking to pass, while Kapaun's going to be looking to rush, as they've done in the past. But also, as we saw last week, Kapaun threw in some more passing, and it should be a really interesting night.
Yeah, of course, Kapaun's biggest bright spot last week was definitely their defense. They were rarely on the field, however, due to the amount of takeaways they caused. But when they were, they made big plays, such as those two safeties that they got to motivate and gain momentum to win the game overall. Of course, that was not the only thing they did. Along with holding the Salina South team scoreless, they were also able to pressure the quarterback very well. Salina South was a very pass-heavy team, and Kapaun was able to contain them very well, which shows that they were able to play pass-heavy teams like Goddard.
Yeah, and that's going to be really important tonight. We're going to see a lot of Kapaun's linebackers rushing the quarterback. Kyler Semrad, number 10, who's actually ranked number 2 on the season in passing yards with over 2,000 yards. And then when the linebackers pressure Kyler, it's going to be important for the secondary to be there to back him up, to tip away balls, to keep the receivers in front of them.
Yeah, Kapaun Crusaders now taking on the field out, of course, our famous helmet. But, of course, Andrew Jamino leading them onto the field. Of course, he's our senior quarterback who's going to get to play all 4 quarters here with Kai Coons, the other quarterback in the system, out with a concussion. This is the first time we're really going to see Jamino play a full game and see what he can do with all 4 quarters. He's a dual-threat quarterback, able to run and pass, and I think tonight we're going to see both of that with Sharts' play calling.
And it's going to be exciting for Jamino here tonight. It's his senior season, and he's just going to look to motivate all the players to try his best. And the same goes with all the other seniors who, this could possibly be their last playoff game, their last football career game. Who knows? So they're going to give it everything they got and leave it on the field.
Yeah, that extra motivational factor, of course, playing here. And as we watch all the seniors line up for the coin toss, this is just such a big moment for them. However, we're really kind of scared to see what we do about this passing offense. Because Kapaun, of course, Salina South, but Salina South wasn't that big of a team, big of a threat.
If I'm being honest, excuse me, Gabe, if I'm being honest here, this might be like the best game we've had all season, besides Carroll, who we did end up losing to. But this is like some really good competition here, and it's going to be really exciting.
And, that's what I thought about with Hayes. I mean, we both thought that going into the Hayes game, and Kapaun escaped that with a pretty easy win.
So who knows? I mean, let's see what the Crusaders can do tonight.
And it looks like they're going to be kicking off here to start, or excuse me, they will be receiving, not kicking off, as Goddard has chosen to defer to the second half after they won the coin toss.
Looks like Andrew Jamino and Cale Curtis will be receiving for the Crusaders.
Cale Curtis is the person leading our team in kickoff return yards. And, of course, he did have that one safety punt return touchdown against Hayes, which actually made the top 10 punt returns on the National Max Preps website, which is pretty big for a senior.
And I cannot wait to see this matchup tonight. As I said earlier, it's a beautiful night out for some football. And, who doesn't love Friday nights, high school football? It'll just be a great game.
Yeah, this is our first gay commentating from the booth, which is not as big of a thing for you guys, but for me and Sophia, it's a very big thing for us to sit in the booth instead of sitting outside in the cold.
Yeah, would have been useful in the Hayes game, but that's okay.
It's okay. We're not complaining.
We're here now.
And here we go. Hayes lining up to kick off the Kapaun here. Let's see what the boys can do. As the kicker is away in the referee's signal. And here it is. And the kick is up. Short kick. And out of bounds, which will give Kapaun some pretty good field position to start off this drive. Was not really expecting that. But
me either. I was expecting maybe a touchback, but here the Crusaders take the field.
You know, as many of these good breaks we can get to go our way, I'm happy with. It looks like Jamino will be starting tonight's game with Doug Bates, and it looks like Cale Curtis there in the backfield in the I formation with Henry Thingvall on the near sideline. As the handoff to Cale Curtis goes for about 11 yards for the first down.
That's amazing to see that on the first play there. I mean, you know Sharts is going to try to just pound the ball. If running works, he's going to do it.
Yeah, you know, excuse me, Mr. Bibb, but that's kind of Sharts' system. I mean, he pounds the ball until he can't anymore and then throws a pass in there to throw off the defense. As another handoff to Cale Curtis goes up the middle for about 3 yards. Breaks a tackle and fights for a couple more yards, which looks about to be a gain of 8. That'll bring up second down for Kapaun. 2nd and 2 at the Goddard 46-yard line,
Yeah, Cale there averages 54.7 yards a game. Pretty impressive stat there.
As a handoff to Bates, goes for about 3 yards, and it looks like a first down. What are you saying, Sophia?
And, you know, about Cale Curtis, he's just one of those guys who'll always try to find that gap, try to get as many yards as he possibly can. And he really is a team player to do whatever he can for the success of the team.
Yeah, you know, there's a few times that Sharts has incorporated him in the pass game. I think we might see more of that tonight, trying to combat this pass offense as Cale Curtis rushes for about 2 yards. And that wasn't a first down on the play. Referee signaled for 3rd and inches. But that run by Cale Curtis gives us the first down at the Goddard 42-yard line.
Now this is exciting to see. Looks like Sharts is going to throw in one of those pass plays here.
Yeah, Kapaun lining up with trips to this near sideline, one receiver on the far sideline. Jamino taking the snap and deciding to keep it for himself. Tosses it to Ruda. Austin Ruda on the carry for about 3 yards.
And there Jamino was trying to read one of the guards. He decided if he could keep it and shoot the gap, but there it was better for him to pitch it to Ruda to gain a few yards.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think that's another thing Sharts is very good at. He kind of throws off the defense. I mean, he's showing passer, obviously, with the trips to one sideline, one receiver split left. As Jamino coming back to the I formation for Kapaun. Toss to Cale Curtis out of the backfield. Nice block by Will Ancio, but the defender gets just past him, brings Cale Curtis down after about gain of 2, which brings up 3rd down for the Crusaders. 3rd and 5 from the Goddard 37-yard line.
That play right there was sort of a counter play. He faked it to Doug, who ran the opposite way, then just pitched it straight back to Cale, who then ran the opposite way.
Yeah, as Jamino will keep it for himself once again, makes a man miss, breaks free, and is eventually brought down to about a gain of 10 on the play. Big play for Kapaun as they convert on the 3rd down, which gives them 1st and 10 now at the Goddard 22-yard line.
Cool Huff going in with Will Doolittle.
And I think we're going to see a lot of this tonight. A lot more of the juniors and seniors getting to play. Because, again, this potentially could be Kapaun's last football game. Of course, we're hoping it's not. As Henry Thingvall motions to the far sideline. As Jamino takes the snap and hands it off to Cale Curtis, who cuts back up to the middle and is eventually brought down to about a gain of 12 on the play.
Now, notice there how Sharts put in Will Doolittle and Cole Huff, 2 of our best defensive players. And he's putting them in there to block for Cale. It's a great design play, so Curtis is able to shoot the gap and get upfield. As
Kapaun's 1st and goal at the 6-yard line, another handoff to Cale Curtis, who fights in the end zone for a touchdown, the first touchdown for Kapaun Mt. Carmel.
Man, Gabe, that was quick.
That didn't take long. You're sure right about that. Only about 3 minutes, as 8:47 remains in the first quarter. Kapaun now up 6-0. Cale Curtis, of course, on that touchdown. That was basically all Cale Curtis on that drive.
I mean, really, Sharts, Cale is just such a great athlete, a great running back. Sharts will look to use him as much as possible.
Yeah, he runs with a lot of power, able to break a few tackles. But he also can make men miss in the open field, which is very important. As Isaac Smith's kick barely gets over the crossbar, but with that kick, he is still perfect on the season for his extra points.
Now, as you notice on that kick, Goddard's defense was really quick at rushing the ball. Last week's game against Eisenhower, you could see how there's a few close ones where they would rush the punt or the kick, and, they're really just quick to getting there.
And I think that's something about their defensive line as well as their offensive line. It's a very athletic group of men. they're not as big as the Kapaun line or any other lines in the GWAL conference or WAC conference, but they're just as or more athletic, which kind of gives them the edge in some capacity.
Yeah, for sure. And now Goddard going to be on offense. Will it be exciting to see how Kapaun's defense holds up against their pass threat? We'll see if Kyler Semrod, how he does against Kapaun's defense.
Yes, it's Isaac Smits now coming on the kickoff for Kapaun. He, of course, has 18 touchbacks on the season, looking to get 20 touchbacks on the season here tonight. I was talking to him today at school, and he's telling me it'll give me $20 if he gets 20 touchbacks tonight. As that will not come on this play, as the onside attempt does not turn out very well for Kapaun, as Goddard will have a first down at, it looks like the Goddard 47-yard line.
Looks like Sharts isn't afraid to take chances this game. He's just going for it. I mean, he's really confident. He knows what he's doing. So I trust him on that play right there. He was trying to get the onside. It didn't work, but I'm confident in Kapaun's defense.
And, Kapaun's defense coming on the field for the first time. Andrew Jamino in at corner, which isn't something we usually see when he's in at quarterback. As the first Goddard pass goes to the far sideline, is incomplete to Luke Hamilton.
Now, Semrod here does a really good job of releasing the ball quickly. And also you see Goddard's offensive line kind of close in behind the first layer of linemen to protect the quarterback.
Yeah, as Goddard now is 2nd and 10 from their own 47-yard line. As the quarterback drops back, takes up the middle. Brought down by multiple Kapaun defenders, but Jackson Powers the first one there.
See there, the secondary had all the wide receivers covered, but then Semrad went ahead and rushed it, but our linebackers were there to stop him.
Yeah, I think the linebackers are going to be the most crucial part here. They've had a big impact in the rushing game, but in the passing game they haven't had as much of an effect, and I think that's going to be a big thing. As quarterback drops back once again, is picked off.
Interception
By
Isaac Smits.
By Isaac Smits, the kicker who can kick and pick, his 2nd interception on the season. An amazing play by Isaac Smits.
Honestly, Gabe, I think he should give you $20 for that pick right there.
Unbelievable pick by Isaac Smits. Gives Kapaun the ball back, and I think that's the first momentum swing that Kapaun was looking for.
Honestly, these momentum swings are crucial to the game, as we saw last week against Salina South.
Kapaun coming on the I formation once again, as there's a flag on the play. Referee signals for false start, so Kapaun will be having a 1st and 15 at their own 37-yard line. Luke Porter in at wide receiver now, split to this near sideline. And Luke Porter had one of the most amazing catches I've ever seen in my life.
Pretty impressive.
It was amazing. Let's see if he can do it again here tonight as Jamino takes the snap and rolls out to the near sideline. Pass caught by Will Ancio, who stumbles forward for about a gain of 6 on the play. Will Ancio is our leader in receiving yards as a sophomore. He has 2 touchdowns this season along with 300 receiving yards. Over 300 receiving yards, excuse me. He's been a key component to his offense this season.
Yeah, and he averages over 46 yards per game.
As Jamino takes a snap and keeps for himself and fights forward for a gain of 6 on the play. That's one of Jamino's strongest attributes, that he's able to fake the entire defense out with these read option plays.
He's even getting us faked out up here.
And I still remember against Garden City when he even faked out the ref. Faked out the ref so much that the ref called the play dead as Jamino was already in the end zone.
Yeah, that was an interesting call there.
As Jamino takes a snap and hands off to Cale Curtis, who takes up the middle and fights forward for a first down.
That's one of those power plays that we saw earlier to get Cale Curtis the touchdown. We have Will Doolittle and Cole Huff blocking ahead for Curtis to shoot the gap and try to get as many yards as possible.
And that gain of 5 is good enough for a Kapaun 1st and 10 at the Hayes 47-yard line. And Kapaun has been pretty good on the 3rd down so far, 3 for 3, which is pretty good. Kapaun doesn't usually have to convert on 3rd down very often, mainly because they don't come to 3rd down very often. And when they do, they don't have the most success converting, but even when they don't convert, they usually go for it on 4th down and get it then. So
yeah, their percentages on converting on fourth down is really high. They're really good at. They do a lot of QB sneaks. Last week we saw Kai Coons, who, as you mentioned earlier, is out with a concussion, but he's looking to hopefully get back next week. But as I was saying, they use the QB sneaks a lot to go ahead and get that extra yard on that fourth down.
As Kapaun coming back after they took a timeout to regroup for this first down play. Jamino under center. Snap is taken. Handoff to Kale Curtis at the middle, who fights forward for that gain of 3 on the play.
Oh, looks like that was Will Doolittle.
Or excuse me, yes, Will Doolittle on the carry for that gain of 3. 6:30 left to play in this first quarter. Kapaun up 7-0. Of course, with the ball, they're looking to capitalize on this lead and grow it here.
Yeah, Luke Porter and Joe Ackerman on that far side.
As Jamino takes the snap, hands it off to Doug Bates, who fights forward about a gain of 4, or excuse me, about a gain of 2. Third down now for Kapaun. 3rd and 5 at the Goddard 44-yard line.
Looks like Kapaun's playing pretty fast here.
And that no-huddle type offense is very good for Kapaun. I mean, they've had a lot of success with it. And it looks like they were going to try to draw the defense off sides. Didn't quite get it there, but Jamino now getting the call from Sharts as he goes back under center. Takes a snap, rolls out to this near sideline, reverses his field.
Great block.
And just throws the ball away, it looks like. Oh, caught!
Oh!
By Luke Porter.
Did they get it to him?
Signals incomplete, however. Jamino was just trying to get that ball out of bounds, but Luke Porter was able to jump up and snag it, but referee signals incomplete, so Kapaun will have a 4th and 5. And it looks like the punt team is going to come on here. I think this is smart by Weston Sharts just to get rid of the ball. They have a 7-point lead. They don't want to give Goddard too good a field position. And, of course, punter Isaac Smits has been pretty good pinning the defense's back, or excuse me, the offense's back within the 5-yard line.
And Sharts here is really confident in the defense, as we saw from last drive, so he has no problem with punting it here.
This punt is up, and it bounces to about the 15-yard line of Goddard. And, you know, that's just what we needed. We didn't want to risk a touchback, so Isaac Smith just put it right inside the 20, exactly where we needed it to be.
Perfect for the defense here.
Goddard coming on now. And I think even though that pick from Isaac Smith didn't result in an offensive touchdown for Kapaun, that was still a big momentum shift. You know, it's important to get in the head of quarterback Kyler Shrimrod as a pass is complete and goes for about a gain of 15 on the play. Or excuse me, 25 rather than 15. That'll be a first down for Goddard.
Notice there, Semrod is really good at throwing tight, crisp passes, bullets, as they say.
Yeah, you know, he's just an all-around great quarterback as he rolls out to the far sideline. And another incomplete pass. Looks like the receiver dropped it on the play. That'll bring up 2nd down for Goddard. 2nd and 10 at their own 34-yard line.
This should be good for Kapaun's defense. Finally get a taste of a solid offense. And so far they've been holding up pretty well. Yeah,
you know, Goddard coming out of his gun formation, 2 receivers on either sideline. As the quarterback takes snap, hands it off to the running back who goes up the middle. Was quickly brought down by the Kapaun Lions by a gain of 2. You know, that brings up 3rd down for Goddard once again.
It's seen there when everyone on Kapaun's defense just swarms the ball. They do a really good job of that.
And I think that's going to be vital because, I mean, Kapaun's going to look to limit the passing game as much as possible. But, I mean, even when Goddard is limited in the passing game, they usually go to the rushing attack, which, I mean, last week against Eisenhower was very successful. They had 171 rushing yards along with their 170 passing yards. They're a dual-threat type team, and so Kapaun's got to do a good job limiting both sides of that dual-threat offense. As a pass intended for wide receiver Jake Shorp is overthrown by Semrod. As that will bring up 4th down for Goddard at their own 42-yard line.
And Jake Shorp is also ranked number 1 in receiving yards this season in Kansas. He's a really impressive player, and him and Semrod work really well together. That's why this offense is such a threat.
And, you know, both of them, of course, seniors, and I think they've just kind of gained chemistry playing 4 years of football together. As Luke Porter returns for Kapaun, fields it around the 25-yard line, breaks into the open field, cuts back to the middle, and is eventually brought down at the 45-yard line of Goddard. That was a big play by Luke Porter there to set up Kapaun with great field position in Goddard territory.
Yeah, Luke Porter's starting to show his stuff once he's getting more options to play more and more. And last game he actually had a return for a touchdown there at the end of the game. Pretty impressive, along with that amazing catch that he had.
And here with 4:08 left to play in the first quarter, Kapaun still up 7-0, looking to make that 14-0 with this offensive drive. As Jamino coming out on the gun, takes a snap, hands off to Cale Curtis, who takes it to the near sideline and is brought down after about a gain of 2 on the play. Brings up 2nd and 8 now for Kapaun at the 47-yard line of Goddard.
Kapaun looking for that play call from Sharts. We're seeing some different formations here tonight. Sharts trying to change it up, keep it fresh to throw the defense off.
Yeah, I know. Goddard is a very good team that, you know, studies film. And I know as a flag is thrown on the play, as we get deeper and deeper in this playoffs, we're going to play better and better teams. And that means that they're going to study a lot more. We're going to watch a lot more film, and Sharts knows that. And so throwing in these different formations, like you said, you know, running different types of offenses is going to be important to have success later on in the playoffs. As that false start brings Kapaun to 2nd and 13 at the Goddard 48-yard line. Kapaun needing something here with Ethan Stillshots on the near sideline and Tiger Jones on the far. As Jamino looks Jones' way, and Jones fights for the catch and gets it for about a 20-yard gain.
And as
Big play.
As we were talking about with Semrod and Shope, it's the same thing with Jamino and Jones here. They've been playing together for as far as I remember. I grew up with both of them. And they just have built really good chemistry.
Yeah, you know, Tiger Jones hasn't had an amazing season receiving the ball. But, I mean, he's been there in those crucial moments as Austin Ruda takes a carry up the middle for about 8 yards. But, you know, he's been in those crucial moments. He had that passing touchdown against Garden City to open up the game. He's just always been there to be there and to get those clutch plays for Kapaun, along with Easton Stillshots. They've just been there, even though they haven't had humongous seasons catching the ball. As Jamino takes a carry, fights it through a few tackles for the first down and brings Kapaun 1st and goal.
Yeah, Andrew there faked me again. Looked like Ruda got the ball, but Jamino, as you said earlier, is really, really, really good at his fakes. He's a shifty guy, works really well, and he's one of those players that the defense never knows what to expect from him.
Yeah, you know, that's kind of why Sharts runs this read option offense for Kapaun, as Cale Curtis takes a carry for about 5 yards on the play, brings up 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line of Goddard.
Kapaun looking to score here with about 2 minutes left in the first quarter, up 7-0.
Jamino takes the snap, keeps it for himself, but is brought down in the backfield this time for a no gain on the play. This brings up 3rd and goal at the 4-yard line once again. You know, I almost wonder if we get to the 4th down, we might just go for a field goal. I mean, just, you know, take the points and then just kind of see what we can do on defense. But
yeah, depending on how many yards we gain here, if we don't get the touchdown with trips out here on this near side, one out on the far, let's see what they're going to do.
Jamino comes out on the gun, tosses it to Ruda, who fights in the, or doesn't fight in the end, just walks into the end zone for the touchdown, which brings the score now 13-0. No need for the field goal. It is great play by Kapaun. Jamino once again on those read option plays was able to toss out to Ruda last second, who walks into the end zone.
And there's Sharts there throwing off the defense, having trips, which Kapaun rarely runs. One wide receiver far, so the defense was very spread out, and that pitch worked really well.
As Isaac Smith's now on the kick once again for Kapaun. As the snap is good, kick is up and through the upright, so a lot better than that first kick, as Isaac Smith is still perfect on the season on his field goals. Or excuse me, his PATs. and field goals. He hasn't kicked one, but he's still perfect. 0 for 0.
Now, right here, Kapaun already has a 14-0 lead, and I'm sure Goddard is already getting in their own heads. I mean, it's hard to go down 14-0 in the first quarter, and it's football. It's high school football. Anything could happen. Goddard could come back out of nowhere. But the Crusaders are here to just pound it, and they do. I mean, they honestly don't want Goddard to score. If they can keep Goddard scoreless, that would be amazing.
Yeah, we saw that against Hayes. Hayes was a great team coming in. The Kapaun got that 14-0 lead early, and Hayes just kind of gave up. I mean, they kind of spiraled into uncontrollable just losses. I mean, they had that 10-point swing in favor of Kapaun that led that 14-0 lead, going into a 24-0 lead as Goddard returns this kickoff from Isaac Smits to about the 25-yard line.
Yeah, and Kapaun does a really good job. They're super confident in themselves, in each other, and they work extremely well together. Their chemistry is amazing, and they keep pounding it, as I said earlier, and just want to play the best they possibly can every single game.
Yeah, just keep pounding it. As Kapaun comes out on defense once again, as Goddard has trips out to the far sideline, as the snap is muffled over the quarterback's head. Quarterback is able to fall on it, and that will be a sack for the Kapaun defense. As that brings up 2nd and 19 for Goddard at their own 16-yard line. That's not what Goddard wanted to do, down 14-0. Let's see if the Kapaun defense can hold him here, maybe get a 4 and out.
That happened a lot against Salina South last week. They just had a lot of fumbled snaps, and it did not work in their favor.
As the quarterback drops back once again and completes the pass to the wide receiver, number 8, Dylan Reese, the running back, who fights for about a gain of 1 on the play. 3rd and 18 now for Goddard at their own 17-yard line.
That play right there was caused by George Trujillo rushing the quarterback, and then he had to release it really quickly, and the linebackers were there to tackle him.
And it looks like that play is going to be the last play of the first quarter here, as Kapaun entering the second quarter up 14-0. I don't know why it took me so long to say that. But they're going to come back to the second quarter with that 3rd and 18. And, this might be good for Goddard. I mean, instead of having to use a timeout to regroup on this 3rd down, they can just take this this first quarter break just to, regroup and maybe make something happen here.
And in the past this season, they've had trouble against Wichita area teams, both of the Andover teams. They lost to Andover Central 26-34 and Andover 13-12.
Yeah, and real quick, a announcement from Keisha. Imagine you are debating or marching before hundreds of people. Kansas high school students have been debating and performing spectacular marching halftime since school started. You are invited to support the fall activity programs at your school, attend a game, volunteer to judge a debate, enjoy a music program. A public service announcement from the Kansas State High School Activities Association.
You got to get those Keisha announcements in there.
Yeah, we'll have 2 more following that one later on in the game. As Kapaun comes back on the field for their first defensive drive of the second quarter, entering once again with a 14-0 lead. Looking good for Kapaun so far. The defensive side of the ball has been almost perfect. They got a little bit, Goddard had a little bit of momentum going that second drive, but was quickly stopped around the midfield mark as Kapaun was able to force a 4 and out, I believe. Or not a 4 and out, just a regular a failed fourth down conversion. As a pass out wide is brought down by Tiger Jones and Kale Curtis, which brings up 4th down for Goddard.
Ethan Stolzalt's there, shoving the guy out of bounds into the chain holder. Andrew Domino coming off the field.
As Goddard facing 4th down, it looks like they're going to punt here. Luke Porter once again back to return for Kapaun. He had a pretty decent return last time out, bringing Kapaun to about the 45-yard line of Goddard. Let's see if he can outdo himself here. This is a high punt. He waits for fair catch. And Kapaun will have the football at the Goddard 47-yard line for 1st and 10.
Very good field position here. Offense looking to score here. They just want to keep scoring as much as possible and maintain this lead.
Yeah, Andrew Jamino has been great so far. We aren't used to seeing him play this much, but he's been spectacular so far. I mean, I'm excited to see what he does with the remaining 3 quarters here. As he takes a snap, hands it off to Kale Curtis, who fights forward up the middle for about a gain of 8 on the play, which brings up 2nd and 2 for Kapaun.
And at this point in the game, we'd usually see Kai Coons go in. And I know he's really bummed about not being able to play tonight. And he just wants to be there, to support his teammates as you see him down there on the sideline. And he really just loves the game of football.
As looks like quarterback keeper goes for about a gain of 1 on the play. Referee signals, however, that it is not a 1st down. Or excuse me, the referee now signals for a 1st down, so Kapaun have a 1st and 10 at the Garden 37-yard line. Jamino in the gun for this play. Fakes handoff to Ruda, takes for himself up the near sideline, and fights forward for a gain of 6 on the play.
Good block there by Will Ancio. Stop the number 1 from coming to tackle Jamino so he could gain a few more yards.
That was an 8-yard gain by Jamino, so that'll bring up 2nd and 2 once again for Kapaun at the Goddard 29-yard line. As Jamino coming out in the same formation, 2 receivers on the near sideline, 1 on the far. As Ruda gets the handoff up the middle and fights forward for a gain of 4 on the play for the 1st down.
Looks like the run game is so far working really well for Kapaun. You already know Schartz is going to keep doing that as much as possible until he sees the need to pass, or if he just wants to change things up and throw off the defense.
I'm excited to see one of these pass plays. We saw one go to Will Ancio, of course, earlier on that kind of out route safety valve. And, he was able to get about a gain of 6 on the play.
Yeah, they run that play to Will quite a bit. It works really well. They have 1 wide receiver kind of go deep, and then the tight end, Ancio, comes in a little out route, and it works pretty well for them.
Yeah, Schartz taking his 2nd timeout of the half, has 1 remaining. I think he's just trying, they're now in the red zone. If they can get this score, they're going to be looking pretty good. They'll have at least 1 more drive before halftime. If they can get a score there, they'll have 28 points. I mean, even if Goddard scores on their next drive, if Kapaun scores on their next 2 drives, we're looking at least a 28-7 lead, which heading into halftime would be great for Kapaun. Let's see what they can do here. Coming out in the same formation. Not
only is it hard for Goddard to come back from such a 21-0 lead, but it's also mentally difficult to do that.
Yeah, as Kapaun runs a read option play once again, but this is quickly brought down by the Goddard defense, as it will be a loss of 5 on the play for Kapaun, 2nd and 15 from the Goddard 30-yard line.
Number 54 there, Noah Stricker. In past games, he's done a really good job of rushing the quarterback, applying pressure. He just gets through the gaps.
Jamino looking to the far sideline for Tiger Jones. Tiger was open but overthrown by Jamino a little bit there.
Gabe, if I'm being honest here, I think I could have made that throw. I think I could have.
I think you could have.
Good effort there by Jones trying to reach out and grab it. That would have been sweet. It's all right. It's 3rd down. Let's see what Kapaun's going to do here.
And Kapaun might not even go for the 1st down. They might be looking to get maybe a 7-yard gain, get us in field goal range for Isaac Smits. As Jamino looks for the end zone with, looks like Ethan Stillsouts, but pass is incomplete as Ethan Stillsouts not able to bring that down for Kapaun. Multiple Goddard defenders that are break it up as well. As we have Isaac Smits on to what looks like attempt a field goal.
This would be
huge,
Gabe.
This will be a 47-yard field goal attempt for Isaac Smits. by far the longest in his career. Let's see if he can do it. It looks like Goddard's expecting a fake here, so I don't know. We aren't expecting too much pressure on this play. As the kick is blocked, Ike Smith's able to fall on it, though. I was wrong. I wasn't expecting too much pressure there.
Me either.
As Goddard had 3 defensive backs on the play because they were expecting a fake, but Goddard defensive line was able to get there and block the kick. As they're like 1st and 10 now at the at the Goddard 38-yard line.
That's one of Goddard's specialty, applying pressure to the kicker, punter. They do a really good job of getting around the edges and trying to tip that ball. Right there, they ended up with the block.
Cape and defense back on the field as the pass intended for short gets batted down by Tiger Jones. Flag on the play after the play was dead. Let's see what the referee says. Unnecessary roughness called on the Goddard offense, which will be a 15-yard penalty, which brings Goddard to a 2nd and 25 at their own, what looks like 36-yard line. Or excuse me, 23-yard line, not 36-yard line.
This is Capen's strong suit here. When the offense doesn't have very good field position, they excel really well in trying to keep him until from getting a touchdown. It's a long way for the touchdown, and Capen does a great job of sustaining.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Capen's secondary here is, because Cimarron kind of has to pass here. As they decide not to go with the passes, the Goddard offense goes with a run, which is quickly brought down the backfield by the Capen defense for a loss of 2 on the play.
Massive hit
loss of 4
there.
on the play. So I'll bring up 3rd and 29 now for Goddard at their own 21-yard line.
Looked like the ball was a little fumbled there. The running back didn't get it cleanly, and so our Capen's defense was there to just hit him.
Yeah, and here we go with 3rd and 29. Goddard might just be looking to get a short pass and see what happens. As that is not what they do, looking deep. Pass up the middle would have been good for a first down, but dropped by number 6, Reese Beeson. Son of Coach Tommy Beeson. Drops the passer on that play. Brings up 4th and 29 now for Goddard, and they're going to be looking to punt. Great drive again by the Capen defense.
That was a close one there on that pass. If Beeson would have caught that, would have got the first down, and it would have been hard for Capen to defend them to the touchdown.
As the punt from Goddard bounces and rolls to about the 45-yard line of Goddard. So Capen will have a 1st and 10 now at that 45-yard line. Once again, Capen looking to expand their lead here with 8:11 left to play in the first half. 14-0 the score. Capen up.
Looks like they'll probably look to do another one of those power plays here. So they have Will Doolittle and Cole Huff in.
I think they're also going to look to run some clock here just to limit the amount of time Goddard has on their next drive until halftime. As they hand off to what looks like Cole Cal Curtis. Goes up the middle for about gain of 6 on the play. Brings up 2nd and 4 at the Goddard 39-yard line.
And also Goddard gets the ball after halftime, so Capen, as you said, is trying to run the clock down here.
As Cal Curtis gets the handoff once again. Brought down after no gain on the play this time, however. Brings up 3rd and 4 now for the Capen offense. As it looks like Cole Huff and Will Duo will be now subbing out, along with Cale Curtis, Austin Ruda, Doug Bates, and Joe Ackerman now in. As Capen goes back to their signature I formation with Henry Thingvall out on the far sideline. As Jamil takes a snap, hands off to Austin Ruda, who goes up the middle, fights forward, but doesn't quite look to get the first down. Gain of 4 on the play, but it looks like the referees are going to signal 4th and inches. The crowd not happy about that call. Neither is the sideline.
Not happy at all.
But it looks like Kapaun's going to stay on the field for this fourth down play. Kapaun has a long history of fourth down conversions. Let's see if they can do it here as Austin Ruda takes the handoff to the near sideline. That is good for a first down. We see Kai Coons there on the sideline, still looking for a first down. Indeed, chains are moving. 1st and 10 for Kapaun at the Goddard 33-yard line.
I bet you the defense there was probably looking for a quarterback sneak, but they went ahead and gave it to Ruda to get there.
Will Ansel here split on the near sideline as Andrew Jamino keeps it for himself for about a gain of 1 on the play. Brings Kapaun to 2nd and 9 at the guard 32-yard line. And, you know, Will Doolittle, not Will Doolittle, Will Ansel doesn't typically get to sit out wide there. You know, maybe we'll see Sharks do that more later on in the game as Kapaun comes out in a pistol formation with trips to the far sideline as Jamino keeps for himself once again for about a gain of 4 on the play this time. Gain of 3 on the play, which brings up 3rd and 6 for Kapaun Mt. Carmel.
Slowly trying to move up the field here. Running down some clock with about 5:40 left.
As Jamino coming out here in the gun formation. Multiple flags on the play. Pre-snap, so it looks like it's going to be false start for Kapaun. We'll see what the ref says. As it indeed is false start, so I'll bring up 3rd and 11. Or 3rd and 12 now for Kapaun Mt. Carmel. Guard 36-yard line.
Coach is not looking very happy on that there, but it happens. Refs are more to the point here in these playoff games.
In the playoffs, they're going to call it a little bit more strictly as Kapaun's been caught there twice on that false start. But Jamino fumbles on the play. Picked up by the Goddard defense. And the returner is brought down at about the Kapaun 43-yard line. Big momentum shift there in this game. Goddard getting that fumble recovery. But, you know, Kapaun defense can't think about that. They've got to get back on the field, get that momentum back in Kapaun's favor as Goddard have a 1st and 10 at the Kapaun 44-yard line. 5:16 left to go in this first half play. Kapaun just needs to prevent a touchdown here. That's all they've got to do. Can't think about that fumble. Just have to think about what's happening right now in this moment and stopping this touchdown.
Yeah, they need to use that, put a little fire in their belly to get motivated to go and get that stop here.
As Goddard has a man in motion, as quarterback drops back, looks to that near sideline. Isaac Smits flags on the play, and it looks like Isaac Smits is going to be called for pass interference, which will bring Goddard inside the 10 for 1st and goal. Isaac Smits defending on that play. Kind of had his hands out, didn't turn around as the pass was coming, which kind of have to do if you're looking to defend the pass. Kind of was falling, wasn't able to turn around. Just kind of was an awkward play. Called for the pass interference.
Just a bad turn of events here, Gabe, but I know the Crusaders, they'll be able to rebound from this. Hopefully get a stop here, do what they can in these circumstances.
Now will not bring Goddard inside the Kapaun 10-yard line, but instead will give them a 1st and 10 at the Kapaun 29-yard line. As in high school, the pass interference call is not from the spot of the penalty, but instead from the spot of the original ball. As a pass from Semrod goes for a touchdown for Goddard. Number 13, Soren Carr on that reception. 29-yard touchdown pass for Goddard, which brings the score now 6-14. That's a big momentum swing here in this game.
Luckily, though, Gabe, there is still 5 minutes left in this quarter. Kapaun gets the ball.
And, you know, I think this is going to be a very vital thing for Kapaun. They have 5 minutes here. Sharks has plenty of plays to pick from. As the extra point attempt from Goddard is good, which brings the score now 7-0. Or, excuse me, 7-14, not 7-0. But, you know, Sharks and the Kapaun Crusaders have 5 minutes here. Don't have to rush. Don't have to really worry about running the clock. This 5 minutes is perfect for one last Kapaun drive before halftime.
And, Gabe, you see here, honestly, I forgot what I was going to say, if I'm being honest. But this right here will be very important for Kapaun as you were saying, to just push down the field. And now I remember what I was going to say. Honestly, I don't think we've seen someone scored this early in the game. I mean, it has happened before, but not recently, and it's kind of a shocker to see this happen.
Kapaun defense, has been good pretty far. Goddard did catch some good breaks. Of course, that fumble by Jamino, and then that pass interference call on Isaac Smits. But, again, Kapaun can't think about that. You can't go back and think about what if a call didn't happen. They have to think about in the moment. And right now, Cale Curtis and Andrew Jamino back to return for Kapaun. And like I said, 5 minutes here. Perfect amount of time for one last good drive by Kapaun to score for halftime. As the kickoff team for Goddard preparing to kick off, waiting for the referee's signal.
Number 17, Mackay Collins.
Team changes up the formation as a onside attempt is recovered by Goddard. Goddard left one hands team member on that far sideline. Kapaun didn't quite notice him, and that was a perfect kick by the Goddard kicker. I mean,
Gabe, I'm in shock.
That was a pretty textbook kickoff there. You bring everyone in, or almost everyone, make it seem like everyone's there, and then you leave one person out on that far sideline, allowing him to, run up there. I remember that OSU used to run that a while when Tyreek Hill used to play there. Just, running up the sideline, hoping he can get there. And on that play, Goddard did get the ball, as they now have the ball with 5:05 of the play in the first half. And this is what Goddard wanted. They have the ball here, looking to tie again going into halftime, and they will get the ball first to play in the second half of play. But once again, I know I keep saying this, but Kapaun has to start thinking about in the moment.
They really do. It's crucial here. In playoff games, it's critical. You have to win or you go home. You have to win or you go home. So they need to get it together here. Forget about this last play, these last few plays, and move on.
Like I said, you can't change the past. Past in the past, present is in the present. You got to focus here. Kapaun defense has to get in the zone here. They've been doing that. It's not like they've been crumbling ever since these past couple drives. They've only had one bad drive. Of course, that last drive, which they didn't really get a tough break. They did get a tough break there. The Goddard offense started in Kapaun territory and only took them 3 plays. And that's exactly what they wanted. As the
flag on the play there.
A strange play ran there by Goddard, but it looks like Kapaun got a
Number 2, Bo Bance there. Semrod gave him the ball originally. One of Kapaun's linebackers hit him. He pitched it quickly so we wouldn't get the loss of yards.
As Kapaun now it looks like 2nd and 11 is the call. Personal foul. Looks like unnecessary roughness called on Kapaun, which will push Goddard up to the Kapaun 25-yard line now. And I know we keep saying this, but Kapaun has to get it together here.
It's interesting to see how they'll handle this situation. There hasn't been this many bad turn of events in a game this year. They're just used to everything going right for them, so they need to get it together, just forget about it, and have some confidence, stay positive, and do what they do best and stop the ball here.
Yeah, and it's not about how many tough breaks and how many bad plays they have. It's how they react to those. And, it's how they come back from those bad calls. It's how they come back from those bad plays. And, the Kapaun defense is looking to make that statement here as the pass from the Goddard offense is quickly brought down for it looks like a gain of 2 on the play, which brings up 2nd and 8 for Goddard at the Kapaun 24-yard line.
I believe in Kapaun's abilities to stop them here. They've done it before They can do it. It's just really their mental state right now, and they just got to push together and see what they can do.
Yeah, as the Goddard offense goes through, they run up the middle, which goes for about 8 yards, stumbled forward for about 9 yards on the play. It looks like that will be a first down for Goddard inside the Kapaun 15-yard line, 14-yard line to be exact, as Goddard will have first and 10 now.
Goddard's fans getting pretty hype there.
And, this is where Goddard kind of thrives, especially quarterback Simrod. He's just able to throw these kind of quick routes just for a touchdown. Because, of course, when you're inside the red zone, there's not a whole lot of room, which, sometimes is good for the defense, but is also good for the offense because, they can run kind of quicker routes, and it gives quarterback a lot more options. As the Goddard offense, once again, looks to pass. Picked off in the end zone.
Intercept.
By
Gabe.
Andrew Jamino.
Just
Your
what
brother.
we needed. Just what we needed. There we go.
There it is. Andrew Jamino, of course, quarterback of this team, he is the leader.
I'm telling you, he hates losing with the passion. He is the most competitive person I know. He'll do whatever he can to get back in the game. We're up 14-7, but still, this
Yes.
turn of events just looked bad. He did what he had to do.
And that's what we're saying. He's a great leader for this team. Right when Kapaun needed a critical play, they needed something to go their way, and he was there to make it happen. As the handoff to, it looks like Austin Ruda, goes for about 9 yards on the play, which brings up 2nd and 1 at the Kapaun 29-yard line. Kapaun still has over 3 minutes left to go here. They really don't have to worry about running the clock. They can just run their offense, get that 2-minute offense going, and quickly get a score here before halftime. As the play goes to Doug Bates for about a gain of 4, and that's going to be another first down for Kapaun. Kapaun does need it, however, they don't need to, but I think they're going to look to go back to that no-huddle offense, just kind of get the ball moving faster and faster, just to get a score. As the handoff goes to toss goes to Cale Curtis up the middle, but is quickly brought down after about a gain of 2 on the play.
Yeah, they just want to run their usual stuff. Try not to do anything special. Just keep it calm and try to get a touchdown here. Big play there by Jamino. They now have the ball and just looking to just slowly drive it down the field.
As Jamino once again coming on the I formation with Luke Porter on the near sideline. Looking to pass here. Rolls out of the pocket. Isn't sacked, but brought down after about a gain of 1 on the play.
Almost loose there, but number 54 was able to pressure him. Noah Stricker.
It looks like the referees are going to once again signal no gain on the play, which brings up 3rd and 10 for Kapaun with 1:45 left to go in the first half. Sharks only has 1 timeout to play with here, so let's see what Kapaun decides to do. As they come out in the I formation. Toss to Cale Curtis. Brought down after about a gain of 1 on the play, which brings up 4th down for Kapaun. That's not all bad. It looks like Goddard is going to... Yes. Goddard is going to take their 2nd timeout of the half, leaves them with 1 timeout remaining. That's not all bad. Before Andrew Jamino, of course, got that pick and Kapaun got the ball back, Goddard had 3 minutes to play with inside the Kapaun 15-yard line. If they would have scored, that would have been good because Kapaun wouldn't have had time to score their own touchdown, and Kapaun wouldn't have been good looking at halftime. But, even though they didn't score on this drive, they still milked the clock. They cut that time in half. Now Goddard only has 1:30 left to play in this first half, and they're going to be starting on their own side of the field. And just overall, isn't all bad. Of course, Kapaun was looking for a score, didn't get it, but once again, they can't think about that.
Yeah.
They got to think about it in the moment. Ivy Smith's going to kick their 2nd punt of the game here. So it looks like Jake Shope for Goddard. fair catch signal for. Not gotten, though, as the ball bounces. As the amazing pump by Smiths once again pins Goddard back inside their own 15-yard line. It looks like they will have 1st and 10 at their own 14-yard line, And that's exactly what Kapaun needed. 1:22 left to play in the half. They just need to stop Goddard from getting a big play. So,
yeah, I mean, they're going to do whatever they can because Goddard is getting the ball at halftime. So they're going to go ahead, get that stop. Who knows? Something crazy could happen. We could get the ball back. But they're just more focused on keeping Goddard in front of them.
As Goddard now starting their drive. As Semrod looks deep. And it looks to be once again picked off by Kapaun's Ethan Stosouts. But it looks like both the receiver and the defender got the hands on the ball.
Let's see what the ref's going to say.
They're going to give it to Goddard, which puts them in Kapaun territory.
Kapaun's fans not happy about this call here.
And to be completely honest, I'm not too happy about that call. It looks like
I don't think anyone is, other than Goddard.
It looks like Ethan Stosouts had that, but the referee signals Goddard had possession, so they will have a 1st and 10 now at Kapaun's 46-yard line with 1:13 left to play.
Yeah, it looked like Ethan got up there first, grabbed the ball, and then Goddard got a hand in there, but these refs call it like they saw it. Here we are.
As Semrod once again drops back. Pass complete once again for about gain of 9 on the play. Clock continuing, not continuing to roll. As it now continues to roll with under a minute left to go in the second quarter, first half. As Semrod looking to get his offense going, trips out to the far sideline as they run a screen play. That quick bubble screen looks to go for about gain of 2 on the play, which brings Kapaun defending a 2nd and 9 as Goddard is at the Kapaun 34-yard line now as they take their last time out of the half. That's kind of what Kapaun wanted. Goddard now has 38 seconds to, kind of shoot for the end zone, which can be easily defended by Kapaun. They don't have any timeouts left, which means they don't necessarily have to. They could, get a quick pass or a quick run and spike the ball, but they're probably going to be looking towards the end zone, which is good for Kapaun because it's kind of more easier to defend.
And it's really important here for Kapaun to get this stop because if Goddard does score, then it'll be tied and then they get the ball back. And then if they score in the second half, then it'll be 21-14, so that's a 14-point swing. And Kapaun does not want that to happen.
As we're still waiting for players to break the huddle, Kapaun coming out on the field.
Gabe, it's looking nice out here. There's a ton of fans here tonight. Almost looking normal. It's quite exciting on this playoff night.
As Goddard coming out in a similar formation, as Semrod drops back, looks to the far sideline. Pass is caught but signaled incomplete by the referees. That brings 33 seconds left on the clock as Goddard facing a 3rd down, 3rd and 9, once again at the Kapaun 34-yard line. This is a big play for Kapaun. I mean, Goddard, of course, probably will go for it on 4th. They're a little bit outside of field goal range. But let's see what happens. As Semrod on the offense approaching the offensive line. As Semrod drops back, looks to the middle. Picked off by Nathan Fury, the sophomore. Flag on the play, but that's just what Kapaun needed. Stopping Goddard in their tracks, not allowing them to score. 22 seconds left to play in the first half. Kapaun's probably not going to score on this play, but no matter what, they stopped Goddard from scoring. That's all that matters. That is the 3rd takeaway for Kapaun.
First pick for Fury here on the season. Exciting here in this playoff game. We really needed that, and he's one of also those guys, super competitive, will do whatever he can to help his team, so he's able to get that interception to stop Goddard from scoring.
Yeah, that's just another big momentum shifter. Kapaun's going to take that momentum into halftime. Hopefully that boosts to Kapaun's defensive confidence, because because, again, they're going to be the first ones on the field after halftime, starting the third quarter, as it looks like Jamil's waiting for the call from Sharts. I would assume they're just going to go for a running play, and what the clock right now is that is exactly what they do, as Jamil takes the ball up the middle. About a gain of 10 on the play. Or excuse me, it looks like the referee's going to signal for a 9-yard gain. As Cape will have second and inches, but it looks like they're just going to let the clock run. Or excuse me, they're going to run one more play as time expires. Looking deep for Tiger Jones. Caught!
Get out of bounds.
On the sideline.
Oh!
Out of bounds.
1.19
left to go
left.
in the half. And it Cape has enough time to go for a field goal.
Talking about chemistry there, Gabe. There we are, Tamino to Jones.
Tiger Jones, very smart play, knowing to get inside the 30-yard line, out of bounds. As Isaac Smith's coming on to kick for Capen. His first was blocked, but let's see if he can turn that around, as Capen's going to take a timeout here. You know, they're very excited. He's got to calm down. Blocked very well on this play. And just Isaac Smith's very good kicker. If it gets past that defensive line, I think it's going to go in. So let's see what happens. This will be a, looks like 43-yard attempt for Isaac Smith's.
Very exciting. This second quarter has been crazy for both ends. Looking bad, you know, in the beginning for Capen, but here we are making those stops, pushing ahead, and just hopefully we can get this field goal here.
I mean, the most crucial part of this play right now is holding the Goddard defensive line. We cannot let them get past and block the kick. Isaac Smith's now looking to kick. Snap is good. Kick is up. And through the uprights for a field goal.
There we go.
Isaac Smith's first field goal of the season brings the Cape in the lead now 17-7. Humongous last drive for Cape Mount Carmel.
Amazing. What a turn of events.
Nathan Fear, of course, got that pick on Capen's side of the field. Capen got the ball with around 22 seconds left to play. That is exactly what Capen needed.
I bet that stings for Goddard here. Having that interception and then us marching down the field with that great play to Jamino to Jones and then Schmitz making that field goal.
And, I mean, we have to highlight how Jones was able to, you know, show off his intelligence there. Just on the football, like his football IQ, excuse me. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling my words. But just he was able to get out of bounds, and he knew he had to get inside the 30. Or around the 30-yard line at least. Because Isaac Smith, of course, is a great kicker, but is still a high school kicker. 50 yards is about his maximum kick distance. He's got a lot of power, but the accuracy isn't as strong. And that was just amazing. I mean, I'm kind of speechless here.
Jones there, like, he knew he needed to get out of bounds, but he also, as you said, got as much yards as he can within that time limit, the short time he had to be able to have that field goal.
And, you know, again, that Capen offense was able to just create that last-second spark, which is what they needed. You know, they were in kind of a downward spiral, and they kind of turned it around with that. They had 22 seconds. They knew they needed to get one quick play off and then just kind of throw it for the downfield as time expired. And we will now take a break as you guys can watch the Capen Palmies perform for the halftime show. Oh, okay. Well, welcome back to Heights Stadium, where the Crusaders are up 17-7. You know, that 10-point lead, of course, coming off of Isaac Smith's last-second field goal. And, I mean, we can't talk about the field goal without talking about Tiger Jones' amazing catch right before halftime. And, you know, he's also able to get out of bounds, setting up Isaac Smith for that field goal.
That really, yeah. I mean, the offense just worked together. Everyone did their part on that play, and we were able to have this 10-point lead here going into the second half.
And, I mean, that last drive was vital for Kapaun, because before that they were kind of in a downward spiral, as we said, before halftime. And, you know, a pick from Nathan Fury, and then Andrew Jamino's pass to Tiger Jones. Of course, it was just very good for Kapaun to get that last-second score.
It wasn't looking good, but Kapaun was able to flip it over, and here we are.
And we're going to send one more KSHSAA announcement your way with this. Have you ever wondered who works behind the scenes by providing much-needed equipment or supplies for your club or team? Ask Tana Cunningham, a senior at Lakeside High School in Downs, Kansas. Booster clubs keep sports in schools activity programs running by fundraising at local supporting events. Whether you are a parent or community member, join your local booster club now to help support your high school. A message from the Kansas State High School Activities Association and Student Advisory Team. At every sporting event, officials are present to ensure that this game will run smoothly. However, those people often go unrecognized. Saying thank you or even something as simple as good game, ref, can show these wonderful men and women how appreciated they truly are. Kyra Blosser, a senior at Council Grove High School, asks you to remember to thank your officials at the next sporting event you attend. A message from the Kansas State High School Activities Association Student Advisory Team. And one more, when attending a game or event, it's important to always be respectful to the officials. Whether you're a player, coach, or parent, says Kevin Helt, a recent graduate from Topeka High School. Without officials, no games could be played. So remember to respect and understand the calls that they make on the field of play. A message from the Kansas State High School Activities Association and Student Advisory Team once again. And as Kapaun looks to be kicking off to Goddard, once again, I don't know why I forgot who they're playing, but it's looking good for Kapaun so far. If they can keep that momentum they built with that last drive, they're going to be looking good.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, the defense, of course, looking for a quick stop, but they don't necessarily need one. They just need to prevent Goddard from scoring. That's going to be their goal from here on out.
Yeah, this half should be really good to see what both teams can bring to the table. Also, an update on one score we checked. Bishop Carroll is up 21-14 to Hutch at halftime. That's one of those huge games here this week. And
of course, if Kapaun wins here tonight, don't want to jinx it, but if Kapaun wins, Northwest will most likely win their game. We're going to be facing Northwest next round, which has caused trouble for Kapaun in the past, but this year is the first year in a long time that we could put up a fight against a team like Northwest. As Isaac Smith's here to kick off for Kapaun to start off the second half. The kick is up and recovered at the 1 yard line, as what looks like a block in the back goes uncalled, as Kapaun brings down the returner inside his own 10-yard line, it looks like. We'll see the referee spot it.
Amari Elias there originally with the little hit there caused the returner to stumble up, and then the rest of Kapaun was able to swarm him.
Yeah, you know, this is great for Kapaun. Not inside the 10-yard line, but just outside it. Kapaun will be defending Goddard for their first and 10 at their own 12-yard line. This is a big drive for Kapaun defensively. And, I mean, they're set up to make a statement here. Goddard has horrible field position starting off here as a run to the outside goes for about 8 yards, as the running back Bo Botts just refused to go down there.
Showing his strength there. A lot of these guys have been training all the way since summer and just trying to make gains to become the best football players they can be and to use that on the field.
Yeah, and it looks like, that referee signaled that the running back stepped out about after a gain of 6. So Goddard now is 2nd and 4 at their own 18-yard line. As a pass is knocked down by what looks like Keenan Wynn. Or no, excuse me, George Trawlia there on the deflection. Big play from the senior. And that's kind of what Kapaun needs. Now Goddard's facing a 3rd and 4.
And Gabe, we just got word that Mays is up 28-14 against Mays South. That's another huge matchup this week.
And, Kapaun's looking good. Especially if, personally, I think if Carroll upsets Hutch, that puts us in a better position. Just because I would much rather play Carroll than Hutch. But Kapaun again gets another stop in the backfield to bring up 4th down for Goddard. 4th and 6, the official spotting. And it looks like Goddard's going to have to punt. A great defensive stop there by Kapaun.
There we go.
That was exactly what they needed. They needed to get that big defensive statement right out of the gate, swing the momentum once again in their favor, just set the tone in the second half.
They came to play. The Crusaders are always ready to play. Either if it's after a timeout, quarter, halftime, they're ready to go.
As Luke Porter signals for a fair catch, muffed but then recovered at the 42-yard line of Goddard. And Kapaun's got some good field position starting out here. And again, they can't get too excited. It's exciting. We got that first 4 and out. Now we got a ball on their territory starting off, 1st and 10. But they can't get excited. They have to take it one play at a time, kind of run the ball, maybe even pass it. Who knows? But they got to take it one play at a time. As Kapaun comes out in the I formation once again with a Cale Curtis toss play.
Oh, he's going. He's going.
Makes another man miss.
Touchdown, Cale Curtis.
Touchdown for Cale Curtis. 43-yard touchdown run for Cale Curtis to open the second half. And, I talked about taking it play one play at a time, but Cale Curtis decided otherwise, taking it for a touchdown.
If that's less than a minute and 30 seconds into this third quarter, and looks like they're...
Or excuse me, it looks like they're going to signal that Cale Curtis stepped out of bounds, so he will once again get the handoff after a 1st and 10 from the Goddard 13-yard line. So excuse us. Sorry we're getting excited.
Getting really,
The referee signals that Cale Curtis stepped out of bounds at the 13-yard line. And now Kapaun is facing a 2nd and 7 at the Goddard 10-yard line. As Jamino once again coming out on the field in the not the I formation, the gun formation with Henry Thingvall split out wide. As Jamino tossed it to Cale Curtis, who fights in the end zone once again for a touchdown. Not once again, but you know what I mean.
He said, if you mark me out of bounds, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get that touchdown anyways. There you go, Cale Curtis.
Cale Curtis on the 10-yard touchdown run. Again, Jamino's just been great with these read option plays. He was about to get tackled there. Last second, dumps off to Cale Curtis, who just walks into the end zone. We saw that with Ruda early on in the game, and that's just what Kapaun needs to do. They need to run the plays that they're comfortable with, and I think that's what they're going to do here from here on out. As Isaac Smith's on to kick the extra point.
Flag on the play.
As it looks like that'll be another false start penalty on Kapaun, which will move them back to the 7-yard line. But as we've seen, that's not too much of a difference for Isaac Smith's. He already made a 43-yard attempt early on in the game right before halftime, so he should be fine. As it stands, the score is 23-7 with 9:53 left to play in the third quarter. As the snap is good, kick is up and through the uprights. Bring the score 24-7, not 3. And that's exactly what Kapaun needed to do.
Isaac Schmidt's having an outstanding season. I wouldn't be surprised next year as he's going into his senior year that he starts getting offers. Kickers are crucial to teams, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, Isaac Smith's, there's probably, 50 kickers in Kansas that could, potentially get a scholarship. But Isaac Smith has set himself apart not only in the kickoff game and in the PAT game, but also in the punt game. We've seen it here in this game already. He's had multiple punts inside the 15-yard line pinning back the defense, pinning back the offense in the 15-yard line, if I can get my words out of my mouth. And Isaac Smith's lining up to kick off once again for Kapaun. What are you going to say, Sophia?
As you say, he can not only kick, but he can pick. That's important, have a versatile player like him on your team.
Kick and pick, as this is a deep kick. which will be his 19th touchback of the season. One away from that 20 bucks. I mean, kind of getting excited.
We'll see. I mean, based on how this game is going, anything can happen. See Matthew Kempf there running off the field, grabbing the tee. He had a great tackle last game. Just a great way to end the game. It's really exciting to see a guy like him get a tackle.
And here we go as Kapaun lining up to start their second defensive drive of the second half. Goddard, of course, looking to respond to Kapaun's last touchdown drive as a quick reverse play, it looks like. Goes for about 13 yards.
Bo Bance there showing his quickness and speed. Just a little pitch from Semrod to him. He was able to get outside and get that first down.
Here we go. And I know I said last drive was crucial. This drive isn't as crucial, but if Kapaun get a stop here and then score again, they're going to be in a very good spot. As the pass to Shope goes for about 6 yards on the play, or excuse me, 6 or 7 yards. Once again, Goddard will have a 2nd and 2 at their own 41-yard line.
Yeah, and I'm sure Goddard sees this drive as even more crucial than Kapaun sees it, because they need to get a score on the scoreboard. They need to keep that lead cut it to as small as possible so they can stay in this game.
Yeah, as a handoff up the middle goes for about 3 yards and the first down, it looks like. I mean, almost every team, no matter what level you're at, you're always trying to keep the other team below 20 points. That's always the goal, and Goddard already kind of failed at that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, really, if you let them score more than 20 points, you've just got to hope you can outscore them. And I think that's what Goddard's going to look to do. They're not going to really look to be like running clock as they have been in the past. They're just going to solely be looking to score as many points as possible.
Yeah, but with this tough defense like Kapaun's, it's going to be really hard for them to be able to do that.
As this first down pass goes incomplete, as the attempted one-handed catch by Shope is dropped.
Goddard's offense looking to coach Tommy Beeson. They run the same no-huddle offense as Kapaun. It seems a lot of teams have adapted to that recently. It's just a quicker pace of play.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of forces the defense. It doesn't allow them to make as many substitutions as the quarterback looks to the far sideline. Pass is broken up by the Kapaun defenders. Looks like Brandon Burr and Isaac Smith there on that play. The catch was made, but then the Kapaun defenders just there to knock it out.
Yeah, and Isaac Schmitz came all the way from this near sideline to the far sideline. He had no one to cover, so he said, I'm going to go help Brandon out, and they made a great play there.
And, I think that's one of the reasons Isaac is such a great safety. He's had a couple interceptions this season, yes, but, he's been a bigger contributor in the past breakup game.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the past deflection game as well. He's just great all-around defender, as well as a kicker. I know I joke about kicking and picking, but it's truly difficult to do, but Isaac Smith does it very well. As the quarterback looks down the middle, pass once again broken up, except this time by Brandon Burry and Andrew Domino. This is good. Kapaun now
really is.
Forcing another 4th down for for Goddard, as this will be a 4th and 10 at Goddard's own 43-yard line as they're looking to punt.
As I said in the beginning, Kapaun's job here on defense is for the linebackers to apply pressure to the quarterback and the secondary to be there. And they're doing just that, and they're doing a great job.
And the snap is good on the punt as Luke Porter is back to return. A line drive punt here is Luke Porter's knee touched the ground. The referees will signal. Luke Porter does not like that call, but again, can't change the calls. You just have to take what happened in the past and deal with it in the present. Can't think about the past.
Yeah, and these guys are really competitive, so it's hard when a call doesn't go your way or if you think there should have been a call. But you can't let that get to your head and affect how you play.
As Jamino coming out in the gun formation once again with Porter on the near sideline. As Jamino takes a snap, hands off to Kale Curtis out the middle, who fights forward for about 6 yards on the play.
Kale honestly has had the most snaps out of anyone on this team here. He's got the ball the most amount of times. And he's done a really good job of leading this team in the offensive end.
Yeah, the sheer amount of carries he's has kind of been, pun not intended, but carrying this team. His 2 touchdowns have been very crucial, and just these short gains he's been able to pick up have been great. As Austin Ruda fights forward for the first down after a gain of about 8, which gives Kapaun a 1st and 10 at the, at their own 45-yard line. Kapaun marching up the field now. This is just what they needed to do. They're going to focus more on the run game now, hopefully, just to milk that clock and just see what they can do. Because, they have a pretty comfortable lead. As Austin Ruda takes another carry for about 6 yards on the play, so which will bring Kapaun to a 2nd and 4 at the Goddard 49-yard line.
Austin Ruda, another one of those running backs that is crucial to the success of our team, as he helps out a lot on this offensive end.
As Jamino hands off to Doug Bates, who takes up the middle for about a gain of 5 on the play for the first down.
Doug, they're averaging close to 50 yards a game. Pretty impressive stat. He just knows how to plow through and get as many yards as he can.
Yeah, as Kapaun now at 1st and 10 at the Goddard 45-yard line. As Jamino once again coming out in the gun formation with 1 receiver on the far sideline. Jamino takes a snap and looks to keep for himself on the quarterback keeper. Goes to the far sideline, but then cuts back up the middle for about a gain of 10. Let's see the referee spots it. Referee signals as Jamino coming up short, so Kapaun will have a 2nd and 1 at the Goddard's 36-yard line. 5:55 up to play in the 3rd quarter. Kapaun up 24-7. As Jamino comes out in the I formation with the Crusaders. As a handoff to Doug Bates goes for about 3 yards and the first down.
Doug getting bumped around there, but he was able to go ahead and get that yard so they could get the first down.
Cole Huffman, senior, I guess they're both seniors, but Kale Curtis also coming in the game, along with George Trolia. Will Doolittle, excuse me. And Luke Porter staying in the game as a receiver out wide to the far sideline. Jamino taking the snap, handing off to Kale Curtis, who takes it towards the near sideline for about a gain of 5 on the play. 4. And that will bring up 2nd and 6 for the Kapaun Crusaders.
Once again, running that power play there, using Cole Huff and Will Doolittle to go ahead and block for Kale.
As Kapaun now has 2 receivers on the far sideline, as Jamino takes a snap and keeps for himself towards the near sideline, fights through tacklers, and goes for about a gain of 10 on the play, which will give Kapaun another first down.
Good job there by Jamino to keep pushing through. He's able to lunge forward, reach the ball out, and get that first down.
Kapaun now inside the 20 of Goddard, 1st and 10 at the Goddard 17-yard line. Looks like Kapaun's going to stick with his formation, as Jamino will not take the snap, as Kapaun will take the first time out they have of the second half, rather. We're going to take this timeout to give you one more message from Keisha. With budget cuts affecting many schools, the easiest solution, according to some, is to cut school activities. Houston Friend, a recent graduate from Santa High School, can't imagine his high school career without these activities. High school activities help students learn how to take criticism, develop integrity, and learn the values of working hard before schools decide to cut programs. Think about the life lessons that can be taught and the structures they provide for many students going forth in the future. A message from the Kansas State High School Activity Association and the student adversary team.
Now, Kansas is trying to do whatever they can for all students and athletes during this time of COVID has just wrecked the world as we know it. But Kansas Board of Education doing whatever they can to help these students lead a normal life.
As Jamino hands off to Will Doolittle up the middle. Looks to be no gain on the play, however. Doug Bates and Joe Ackerman coming back in the game for Kapaun. 2nd and 10 now for Kapaun at the Goddard 17-yard line. Jamino coming out in the I formation with Kapaun as Luke Porter on that far sideline. Handing off to Cale Curtis up the middle, who just fights in the end zone for another touchdown, 17-yard touchdown run for Cale Curtis. That is humongous for Kapaun. That gives Kapaun potentially a 31-7 lead, which, I mean, is very hard for Goddard to come back from.
Yeah, and Curtis, I mean, he is putting the pedal to the metal. He wants to win. All of these boys want to win, and they're doing a great job of working together to be up as Isaac Schmitz makes his kick.
Hopefully. As his kick is up and, yes, good. Bringing the score once again to 31-7 with 4:01 left to play in the third quarter. And I mean, I know I keep stressing it, but that is a humongous drive for Kapaun. That defensive stop followed by that offensive touchdown is just huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, like as you said, Goddard is going to have a heck of a time coming back from this lead. And I know Kapaun is going to try to put him away. They don't want Goddard to score again. They want to shut him down and just sustain this lead and even gain on it if they can.
And, you know, we kind of saw Goddard in the first half kind of use the run game to kind of throw off the defense. I mean, they're known for a heavy passing attack, but they were kind of throwing in a few run plays just to throw off the defense and just, I don't know, just change up the system a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But now they can't really do that. They're going to have to pass on almost every play just to get back in this game.
Yeah, and these past few drives, they have been passing, but Kapaun's defense has been doing an amazing job of stopping them.
As Isaac Smith's kickoff goes into the end zone for his 20th touchback on the season.
$20 for you, Gabe.
As that will set up Goddard for a 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. And I mean, Kapaun only can get one more stop here. Goddard hasn't had the most success on offense this half. And of course, they're looking to get that motivation going.
And Kapaun, though, is just full of energy right now. All of these players, they're probably ready to end it. They've been working hard all week. They're ready to get this victory and have some rest over this weekend.
As pass complete to Shope for about 15 yards on the play. 17 yards on the play. Still Slouts on the tackle there.
In a play like that, Kapaun will rebound from it. They're used to, I mean, a team's going to get a first down.
Here and there.
Yeah, here and there. And it's really no problem for Kapaun. They should be able to keep Goddard sustained here.
As Kapaun breaks up a pass, which is meant for number 15 of Goddard, Cooper Zimmer, the sophomore.
George Trollia there with the pressure applied to Kyler Samrod, Goddard's quarterback.
As they will now have a 2nd and 10 at their own 37-yard line. Kapaun looking to get a stop here. As Samrod looking to the sideline for the call. And now approaching the line of scrimmage. Samrod drops back. Quick pass dump off to the running back, who fights for what looks like a first down. To the referee spot it. And yes, that will be a first down for Goddard. 1st and 10 at the Goddard 48-yard line.
Semrod using his skill there to find Bo Bance open. Gave him a nice sharp pass, and Bance was able to get the first down.
3:13 left to go in the third quarter. Caping up 31-7. Looking to get one more defensive stop here to add to the already terrific games defense has had. As Semrod drops back, George Trollia chasing him out of the pocket. Semrod rushes up the middle, but is quickly brought down by Will Doolittle and Jackson Powers after about gain of 3 on the play.
Semrod is one of those quarterbacks that he can scramble when he needs to, and he's able there, as we saw, to gain about 6 yards on the play. Goddard waiting for the call from their coach.
And, we're kind of seeing Goddard kind of back off that no-huddle offense we saw in the first half because they need to take every play one at a time so they don't make mistakes like that one there. Semrod throws the pass into the ground, and that brings up 3rd down for Goddard once again. Goddard has not had the best of luck on 3rd down this game, but let's see what they can do here.
It's hard for Goddard here, being down 31-7. They're probably getting in their own heads, and it's really hard to come down from this deficit. It just mentally to work together and to try to not make any mistakes is a very difficult task.
As Semrod under center this time. Excuse me, no, he's not. He's in the backfield. Excuse me. Rolling out of the pocket. Looking to the near sideline. Pass caught by Shope. Breaks tackle to get in the open field, but quickly brought down by Isaac Smits and Nathan Fury, along with Ethan Stillstouts.
Ethan Stillstouts there. He was trying to look for the strip. Could kind of tell, but he wasn't able to get it. But, Kapaun has had very good success right here in this area, and they should be able to get a stop here. If not, they have a pretty substantial lead, and their offense will be able to pick him back up.
Yeah, and as Goddard sets up for a 1st and 10 at the Kapaun 28-yard line, Semrod throws out to the far sideline. Pass is good for about 4 yards, it looks like. Excuse me, 2nd and 5 now. I forgot the Kapaun 23-yard line. 1:25 left to go in the third quarter. 31-7 the score. Kapaun up, of course.
Goddard here taking their time. They're trying to get the best play they can to be able to score here.
Semrod looking to keep himself on the quarterback draw. Excuse me, not quarterback draw, but it's quarterback run. Play is good for a 1st down, which brings the Goddard Lions inside the Kapaun 20 for 1st and 10. Under a minute left to play in this third quarter. Let's see what Goddard decides to do.
Andrew Gerbino and Luke Porter taking a break here on the sideline.
As Goddard finally breaking the huddle and looking to have this 1st down play. 2 receivers on the far side and 1 on the near. As Semrod looks at that far sideline. Pass is dropped, however, by Bo Bance, the running back.
He started to run before he caught it. That happens. It's just a common mistake. He was just looking to score there, but he moved a little bit too fast.
And it looks like we're going to have one more play for the end of the half, barring any stops on the clock.
Goddard still waiting for the play call.
As Semrod now approaching the line of scrimmage and setting up in the gun formation with 2 receivers on the far side and 1 near once again. As they have 1 man in motion. As Semrod drops back, looks to the far sideline. Pass broken up by Isaac Smits this time. No pass interference call on the play. And he did it right that time. He kind of turned at the last second. That's exactly what you need to do.
Jake Shope looking a little a little limping almost there. Shaking up. I hope he's okay. I mean, he's had a tough game. He's one of the best wide receivers here.
He's one of the reasons they're still somewhat in this game.
And it's hard when you have that pressure on you, when you have to lead the team. But, I mean, he's done a good job so far.
And it looks like they're going to leave him in the game even though he's limping. Well, let's see what he can do on this play. As Goddard lining up in the same formation. Timeout called by Goddard.
25.9 seconds left.
They might have been looking for an injury timeout from the ref. Didn't quite get it, so they're going to take it for themselves. And, I mean, I think that's kind of important. I mean, you got to get, it looks like Shope's going to stay on the field.
I mean, they are down 31-7. He is a senior. I don't know if he play. I think he does play baseball, so he has the winter off. He might as well, play every second he can.
And, we saw that with Bell, the running back from Salina South last week. I mean, he got hurt in the first half, and we saw him on that sideline egging the coaches to let him back in. Eventually, he did come back in the third and fourth quarter. So maybe that's the situation here. He knows that this is the last season of the game, game of the season potentially, and he needs to be there for his team. He is a senior, so this is his last career high school game potentially. So he wants to play as much as he possibly can.
And that's very understandable. Football is a big part of all of these guys' lives, and they really enjoy it. They just want to enjoy the moment.
As Kapaun now coming back on defense. As Goddard has a 3rd and 10 now with 25.9 seconds left to play in the third quarter. As Semrad takes the snap and is brought down by multiple Kapaun defenders, but it looks like Will Doolittle, the junior, was there and is going to be credited with the sack. And
Great
that's going to be
play
the
there.
last play of the third quarter. Big play by the Kapaun defense, especially by Will Doolittle, to get there off the edge and get that sack for Kapaun. Kapaun entering the third quarter up 31-7, which is a pretty good place to be.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Goddard to come back here in this fourth quarter. You already know Kapaun is not going to let that happen. They're going to keep pounding it as I keep pounding it, and they're just going to keep going and pushing through.
And we're going to bring you one more announcement from Keisha. We seem to lose sight of academics when athletics is what we focus on. For the majority of our time, says Joey Langsrat, a senior at Bassahor Linwood High School in Bassahor, Kansas. At the end of the day, there will be a time when all of the games and tournaments will come to an end, and academics are what will lead to jobs and a bright future for students outside of sports, and this is why they are important to keep track of. A message from the Kansas State High School Activities Association and the Student Advisory Team.
Spotted Ruda down there on the sideline. Looks like he has his arm in a sling and his shoulder wrapped up. Probably hurt his shoulder there. Hopefully it's nothing serious. Probably sitting out the rest of the game here as we have a good lead.
And that's very important. We're going to need him next week, especially if we have to play Northwest. It's going to be vital that we have him as a crucial running back.
An update on Carroll and Hutch's score. Carroll is now up 28-21 in the third quarter with 6 minutes left.
Kapaun still on defense, 4th and 19 for Goddard. They decide to go for it as Semrad decides to keep for himself. Doesn't get the first down, but rushes for about 15 yards on the play.
Good effort there by Semrad. Kapaun's offense is now taking the field.
Doolittle on that tackle. And Kapaun will have 1st and 10 at the at their own 13-yard line. Let's see what Kapaun can do with this drive. As Jamil takes a snap, loses his footing while trying to change direction up the middle, and is brought down around the line of scrimmage.
Update on Northwest and Heights game. Who, as it looks, Northwest 62-0 with Heights. So if we do come out with the dub here, which it looks like we will, don't want to say anything too soon.
Knock on wood.
You never know. We will be playing Northwest.
Which again is a very tough opponent for Kapaun. Has been for a long time. As it looks like, excuse me, Curtis. Yeah, excuse me, Kale Curtis on that carry, about 3 yards. 3rd and 7 now for Kapaun at the Kapaun 16-yard line.
Now Sharks is probably looking to run the clock down here. Kapaun has the lead by 24 points, and they'll just see what they can do this drive.
As the quarterback keeper goes for about 3 yards on the play, which brings up 4th down for Kapaun. 4th and 4, as it looks like the punt team will be coming on.
That offensive drive wasn't successful, but we know Kapaun's defense will be there to back up the offense. As I say, they work really well together as a team, both offense, defense, special teams, so they should be fine here.
Isaac Smith's the punt for Kapaun once again. Flag on the play.
See what the ref says.
False start once again called on Kapaun, which will push Kapaun back to a 4th and 9 at their own 14-yard line.
Second false start here tonight for the Crusaders.
I actually believe that's the 4th false start.
4th?
for Kapaun.
Really?
Yep.
Man.
Isaac Smith takes the snap, punts it. High punt this time. Bearcats signaled for and caught.
Parents here yelling at the refs. Not sure what they're yelling at, but they're getting really worked up.
I believe they're looking for a roughing the kicker call. I didn't quite see anything. It doesn't look like the ref saw anything either. So Kapaun will be defending Goddard when they have 1st and 10 at the Kapaun 39-yard line. Kapaun can get one more defensive, or not, excuse me, not one more, but another defensive stop as Simrod passes it to his running back, Bo Botts, who fights forward for about 15 yards on the play.
Quick pass play there by Simrod. Trying to get rid of the ball quickly as he knows Kapaun's linebackers will be rushing him.
13 yards on the play. And I'll bring up 1st and 10 for Goddard at the Kapaun 26-yard line. 9:20 left to play in the fourth quarter. As a pass to Shope goes for 8. Fumble.
Looks like Goddard fell on the ball.
Yes. And it looks like, 9 minutes now left to play in the game. Kapaun still up 31-7. But Goddard is in the red zone now. So let's see what they can do. Down by
24.
24. I don't know why I blanked on that. But let's see what they can do.
Yeah, and Kapaun's defense has had success here, so they should hopefully hold him, but we'll see if Goddard's offense has something else.
As Semrod looks for the end zone, but overthrows his target by about 5 yards, which will bring up 3rd down for Goddard. 3rd and 6 at the Kapaun 22-yard line.
Schmidt's doing a good job defending there.
Smith's still the only person I know that can kick and pick.
Mm-hmm.
Never going to let that die. But here we go with 3rd and 6 for Goddard. Semrod awaiting the call from the sideline. And if they don't hurry, they're going to get a delay of game. Let's see if they can get the snap off. They do indeed with 1 second left. As the handoff to Bo Bontz goes for about 9 yards. Or no, 5 yards. But it looks like referees are still going to signal 1st down So Goddard will have a 1st and 10 at the Kapaun 12-yard line.
Kapaun's going to try to hold him here. It's going to be tough. They've done it before. But Goddard, as you see, they're taking their time on these play calls, trying to get the best play so they can score.
Semrod once again coming out. Quick toss play to Bots, who fights near the end zone. Let's see what the referee says. Referee says he was brought down at the 1-yard line, which brings a 1st and goal for Goddard at the 1-yard line of Kapaun.
Goddard likes that play there. Bance was in motion and does a quick little toss to him, and he was able to get to the 1-yard line.
Semrod waiting from the call from the sideline once again. Goddard looking to score for the first time in the second half here. As the pass goes to the end zone but is dropped, which brings up 2nd and goal now from the Goddard, or excuse me, from the Kapaun from the Kapaun 1-yard line.
It's very rare here to see a defense stop the offense from scoring this close to the goal line, but it is possible.
Goddard coming out once again here. I will say Goddard will be very disappointed if they cannot convert. As they do, a 1-yard rush gets Goddard the touchdown, which brings the score now 31-13 as Goddard comes on to attempt a PAT.
I mean, it's not over. A turn of events could happen. Goddard could come back, but I'm confident that Kapaun most won't allow it. I know they don't want that to happen, so they'll do everything in their power to keep that from happening.
Penalty flag on the field. Let's see what it says.
Looks like Goddard isn't happy.
I think the referee might have heard one of the players say something. But let's see what the referee's call is.
Talking to Sharts right now.
The referee and the player from Goddard exchanging words, and the player is not happy. Unsportsmanlike conduct, the call against both sides of the football,
I
which
guess.
offset and will give the Goddard a regular PAT. And it looks like Goddard's going to take a timeout. And as their 2nd of the half, they have 1 remaining.
Looks like both teams just,
Both teams, I think this,
yeah,
I mean,
getting into it a little bit. That's all right.
it's been a long game. And I mean, I can't imagine how frustrated Goddard is. But they really need to convert this PAT.
It's crucial. So then they'll be down by 10, and 10 points is a deficit that they can come back from.
Yeah.
With this time, I mean, anything could happen.
As Goddard now taking on the field once again.
Here for this PAT.
Oh, it looks like they're going to be going for 2 here.
They are going for 2.
Which makes sense because, I mean, they need 3 touchdowns. And, I mean, 3 2-point conversions would add up to the 3 points they need to tie Kapaun. They get the first 2-point conversion they need here. And so that now brings the score 15-31, Kapaun up. Just, I mean, that's a smart play call by Goddard. I mean,
it really is.
they were down by 3 touchdowns and a field goal. So 3 touchdowns and a field goal. If you do the 3 touchdowns and get 3 2-point conversions, that adds up to the 3 points you need to get from that field goal.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was a good play call by their coach. So they took a time out to draw that up. And now the score is 31-15 with 7:17 left in the fourth quarter.
As Goddard now looking to kick off to Kapaun. As Cale Curtis looks to be the lone receiver back. And it looks like Kapaun's expecting an onside kick here.
I wouldn't be surprised. It worked for Goddard earlier in the game. They were able to get the onside kick. In this playoff football, they're going to do whatever they can to win this game.
Let's see what happens. As Kapaun's hands team is looking to recover this onside attempt. Kick is falling on. There it is. Onside kick attempt fallen on by Luke Porter, which gives Kapaun a 1st and 10 at the Goddard 39-yard line.
Now another update for the score versus Carroll and Hutch. Carroll's up 35-28 in the fourth quarter with 7:32 left. It's very close. It looks like the teams keep scoring back and forth, but Hutch isn't able to get that lead on Carroll.
And Hutch just recovered an onside attempt, so they're looking to tie up the game. We'll try to keep updating you on that game, as this game, Cale Curtis gets a handoff that goes to the near sideline and is quickly, not quickly out of bounds, but fights forward for that gain of 7.
Honestly, Kapaun here, they want to look to score. They want to get that extra touchdown. And they're also killing time. So if they're able to get that touchdown, it's almost impossible for Goddard to come back from this.
Yeah, and like you said, I think Kapaun's going to wait to run that play clock down, get as much clock ran as possible. As Jamino comes down the I formation once again with Henry Thingvall on the near sideline, as a handoff to Doug Bates goes up the middle for about 5 yards in the first down.
Quick little trap play there.
As Kapaun will now have a 1st and 10 at the Goddard 24-yard line. Cole Huff and Tiger Jones not coming in for Kapaun. Ethan Stillsot's coming in at wide receiver as well.
Joe Ackerman as the left tight end on the far side. Will Ancio here on this near side on the tight end.
As Jamino coming on the gun formation with one receiver on either sideline. As he takes up the middle for a big game, about 10.
Good run there by Jamino.
Let's see what referee spotted. That's a potential first down for Kapaun. Let's see what he says. But no, Kapaun will have a 2nd and 1 at the Goddard 15-yard line. Doug Bates coming back into the game, presumably to get that 1 yard Kapaun needs, but we'll see what happens.
They're waiting for the play call.
Doug Bates stumbling forward for the first down, just as we thought.
And some more.
And some more for a 5-yard gain. And so that'll be 1st and goal at the Goddard 10-yard line.
Kapaun has already run down at 2 minutes off the clock and potentially being able to score here.
As Jamino coming up to the line of scrimmage once again in the I formation with Henry Thingvall to his near sideline. Cale Curtis running to that far sideline, but is brought down to by a gain of 5 for 2nd and goal at the 6-yard line,
Doug Bates there leading and being able to block for Cale so he could gain some yards as Bates runs off the field.
Kapaun now looking to potentially score with 6 yards to go for a 10 zone.
Really milking the clock here.
As Jamil takes a snap and keeps for himself on the QB draw for for the touchdown. 6-yard touchdown run by Andrew Domino.
There we
Put
go.
the Crusaders up even more, scoring now 37-15 with 4:03 left to play in the game. And you never want to call it early, but I think that might be the nail in the coffin for Goddard.
Yeah, it really should be. It's going to be very difficult to come back from this.
As Isaac Smith's once again kick the PAT for Kapaun.
Looks like Dylan Hamilton, the freshman, is going to be holding.
As the kick is good. You know, Hamilton had to come in because Ruda was, of course, out with that shoulder injury.
And
he did a great job.
Yeah.
It was good. And Isaac Smith continues his perfect season kicking the ball on PATs.
And Hamilton was the quarterback for the freshman team who were undefeated this season. One of the best seasons the freshmen had in the past few years.
Kapaun players huddling up.
They're ready to seal the deal, Gabe.
And I mean, it's always a good sign when you hear the Kapaun Crusaders singing their fight song.
Out here, Western theme tonight. It's good to see these fans coming out here being able to cheer the Crusaders on.
And you can hear the Kapaun fan section counting the amount of steps the receiving team is taking.
There we go.
As Isaac Smith's once again on kickoff for Kapaun. As the kick is up, line drive kick deep, muffed by the returner, taken out of the end zone, and brought down around the 12-yard line of Goddard.
Flag thrown there.
Flag thrown, presumably for unnecessary roughness on Goddard. Let's see what the referee's call is.
I can understand why this is happening. Goddard realizes it's their last game. They're not going to win.
They're just frustrated.
They really are, and they have a right to be. It sucks to have your season end this way, but honestly, there's only one team in each that gets the title. So, I mean, everyone loses except one team.
And, you know, Kapaun's moving toward that title. With this win, they will advance, presumably to play Northwest. I mean, unless Heights came back from that 62-point deficit.
I don't know, Gabe.
I mean, I think they're close. I think it was close.
It might be possible.
I mean, I know we're playing on their field. Maybe it was a little bit of good luck, you know?
Yeah.
But score 38-15, 3:55 left to play in the game. It looks like, I mean, we'll see what Goddard does, but I think they're just going to try to run out the clock, kind of go home with what they have, and just come back next season.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's the great thing. There's always next year where you can improve, make some adjustments, and hopefully come out with a better team. Just as Kapaun did this year, had a very bad season last year, and here we are now.
And I mean, Goddard had a very promising season this year. They went 6-2 during the regular season, and they got to the second round of the playoffs. As a pass intended for receiver Carr doesn't quite connection doesn't quite happen as Semrod overthrows him by about 10 yards.
As the student section is chanting that I believe that we will win.
I mean, I think I believe that too.
Yeah, me too.
This week, I think it's pretty safe to say Kapaun's going to escape here with the dub, like we like to say.
I wonder if Sharks would put any of the sophomores or freshmen in. It's possible, but it's still, I mean, it's a playoff game, and since we're not up by, like last game, 74-0, probably keep the starters in.
And I think he might take this opportunity to put all the seniors in instead. You know, again, this wasn't their last game. I mean, we talked about that beforehand, but turns out they're going to have one more next week, and maybe more after that. But they've got to take advantage of every play they have on that field and just absorb it while they can.
In next week's battle against Northwest will be a dogfight, and it'll be exciting to see.
As Semrod throws a bullet down the far sideline, but it is incomplete, which brings up 3rd and 8 now for the Goddard Lions.
Keenan Wynn running on the field.
Taking the spot of George Tralia. And it looks like there's a flag on the field. Holding was called in the offense, but Kapaun, of course, will decline that penalty to, not bring up 3rd down, but instead 4th and 8, which will send on the punt team from Goddard.
John Wren running off the field on Luke Porter.
Back to return for Kapaun.
A little confusion there.
3:11 left to play in the game. Kapaun still up 38-15. As I think with this drive, starting with this fair catch by Luke Porter, starting with that punt return by Luke Porter, I think they're just going to milk the clock. I mean, I think
for sure.
Kapaun can easily run 3 minutes off the clock here and just kind of get away with the win and move on in the playoffs. And I believe next round is the quarterfinal. Of course, the sub-state final following that, also known as the semifinal.
Yeah, football is one of those. They have 32 teams in the bracket, so it's quite a long bracket play. But it's football, so it's hard to get to that state championship game.
As a run from, looks like Cale Curtis goes for about 3 yards, which will bring up 2nd and 7 for Kapaun at the Goddard 47-yard line.
Reese Eberhard in, one of those seniors, and also freshman Amari Elias.
Excuse me, Amari Elias on that carry, not Cale Curtis. My mistake.
Running the clock down here.
Just waiting for that play clock to run down. As now Jamino approaches the line of scrimmage. Takes a snap, hands off to Elias, who fights forward for about, looks like 6 yards on the play. So give Kapaun a 3rd and 1.
Jonathan Duncan coming in for Will Ancio. And it's good for Elias here to get these snaps, because next year he'll be a sophomore, and he'll be getting more and more snaps, and it'll be good for next year's team.
He could potentially be a starter next year with the way he's played this season. He's also played on the defensive side of the ball as a linebacker, so we'll see what he can do next year. But right now, Kapaun has a 3rd and 2, as the quarterback sneak by Andrew Jamino looks to be close to the 1st down marker. Let's see where the referee spotted.
Alex Rocha coming off the field, who did have a touchdown last week. It was fumbled in the end zone. He was able to fall on it and get that touchdown.
As Kapaun now has a 1st down at the Goddard 39-yard line with 1:27 left to play in the game.
We're not going to stay away from anything. We're just going to stay on your shot, Maddie. Josh, you're going to get the celebration here in a bit.
Still just milking the clock here.
And it looks like Kapaun's going to enter the victory formation, as a couple kneel downs will secure their advancement in the playoffs.
Kapaun's crowd cheering.
Kapaun sideline, the Kapaun crowd, all clapping in appreciation for what Wrestling Charts has really done this year. I mean, last year, if you would have told me that Kapaun was going to be moving on to the 3rd round of the playoffs, I wouldn't have believed it.
No chance.
2-7 last season, basically beating that record entirely. 7-1 this season, and of course, first playoff win was against Salina South, 74-0, and this playoff win, of course, against Goddard, 38-15. And Kapaun will now move on to the regional championships next week against Northwest.
Great win here For Kapaun, quite exciting to see for them to move on past the second round this year. Great game, great matchup. Kapaun Crusaders versus the Goddard Lions.
And excuse me, my bad. This means that Kapaun is regional champions. And so, I mean,
That's huge.
That's huge for Western Charts and Kapaun Crusaders.
Yeah, Western Charts really just helped this team flip this program around, and here they are, regional champs.
As we are waiting to get to you the update on the Carroll Hutch game and the result of that one. But great game from Carroll. Great game from Kapaun.
Carroll does win.
And Carroll. So,
They Carroll won 42-28. Aiden Edens had a 47-yard keeper that put Carroll ahead.
And that does mean that if Carroll wins next week and we win next week, that means we're going to meet each other in the playoffs.
Rematch, and that would be huge for the senior class. They have yet to beat Carroll, and that would just be such an amazing battle.
And I'm all for it. I'm pretty excited.
Me
After
too.
this win, I'm going to be honest with you, Sophia. I didn't know if we were going to win this. But we did, and that's all that matters. Kapaun escapes with a W, and we'll see you next week. From Gabe Bryanbach and Sophia Jamino.
Out.